Welcome back to Become a Calm Mama. I'm your host, I'm Darlene Childress. And today on the podcast, I want to talk a little bit about resilience and what that means, and also how to cultivate resilience in your kids. Recording this the week of the fires in Los Angeles, the Eaton Fire and the Palisades Fire. And it's a interesting topic to be talking about resilience in the aftermath of such a huge natural disaster that occurred in the area where I live, and knowing about families who are displaced and families who've lost their homes and the major tragedy that's occurred and the resilience that is needed in order to recover from this disaster and from all of the small tragic stories that are coming through the news, just family after family after family that lost everything. It's been making me think a lot about resilience, and I want to talk about how to develop resilience in your children, but I really am just thinking about the resilience that I'm seeing in an entire city and in communities and in families and in individuals. And I'm very inspired by the reality that most of us experience hard things in life, and most of us are able to overcome that adversity. And there's this feeling when you're a parent that you want to make sure your kids are resilient, right? You want them to be able to overcome hard things and to really grow from that adversity. So having them experience adversity and then have them grow and change and almost be forged like in a fire to become stronger and more beautiful. There's this tension in parenting where we want our kids to be strong and resilient and have a good attitude and face disappointment and hardship with bravery and courage and strength. And at the same time, we want to prevent them from ever experiencing hardship. And then we're frustrated when we look at them and we are sort of discouraged because they don't seem to be made of tough stuff, right? But they maybe haven't gone through tough things. And at the same time, we're preventing them from experiencing tough things because we don't want them to get hurt. The reality is that adversity is always going to come. You are going to experience hard things. People are going to pass away. You're going to lose things. There's going to be illnesses and accidents and financial burdens. And I don't mean to say it in such a negative way. It's just sort of true that life is filled with beauty and pain and loss and hard things and really beautiful things. I think sometimes as parents, we worry that our kids are going to have, if they're going through something hard, we're worried that it's going to break them. And the truth is that we're not that breakable as people. We're actually very strong and very resilient. We want to work hard to get what we want. We want to overcome hard things and do hard things in order to get to the next whatever it is that we want, or to get what we want. And so I really want to help you understand that preventing problems creates problems, because we want to give our kids the opportunity to have small disappointments and small hard things so that they feel confident in themselves that they can overcome those hard things. So when I hear a parent talk about being worried that their kid's going to grow up and they're not going to have a good self-esteem, or that they're going to be rejected and bullied by their peers, get depressed, that they won't be successful, I hear them saying, I don't know if my kid is going to have an emotional health, if they're not going to be emotionally healthy. One of the ways that you help your kids become emotionally healthy is by letting them experience hard things, have your support, have your care and your love, and give them the tools to overcome that. Your kids are going to go through hard stuff. And if you prevent that, if you social engineer, you micromanage, you hyperplan, you bulldoze this smooth path for your kids, you're preventing your child from experiencing the hard thing that they actually need to grow. Even if you did it perfectly, even if you prevented all shitty circumstances, if you tried to prevent anything bad from happening to your kid, that would not be possible because bad things are going to happen. Like they just do. Loss is inevitable, and childhood loss is also inevitable. It's just true. Even small little losses like losing a toy at a friend's house, or leaving something in the rain and it gets ruined, or not finishing an assignment and being unable to go out on recess. The small things that we kind of try to prevent our kids from experiencing hardship, forgetting their water bottle, things like that, that when we try to prevent that stuff, it's inevitable that it'll happen anyway. But it also, by preventing it, it makes us work so hard. Like you're working so hard to prevent something that you don't even want to be preventing because we want our kids to experience in hardship. Now, the reason why we don't like them to experience hardship a lot of times is because they complain and they cry and they're sad and they have their big feelings, and we feel ill-equipped to help them with those feelings. We feel so guilty that we didn't do it right or do our best or give them what they needed. And we make their discomfort be as if it's a failure on our part, that we did something wrong and therefore our kid is experiencing something hard. And I'd rather you be able to think about hard things are going to be inevitable, and my job is not necessarily to prevent those things. My job is to equip my child so that they are able to experience pain, discomfort, and hardship and overcome that and let them become more and more resilient. When your kids are upset and they're having a big feeling cycle because they've experienced a hardship, whether it's because of an accident or because of a friendship that falls apart or a mean teacher, or, they think that they're going to be able to get away with not doing something and they still get in trouble. Whatever the hard thing is, your kids are going to have feelings about it. And it's the ability to process the feelings that we have in the midst of hard things that makes it possible for us to overcome them. When you give your kids the tool to process negative emotion, where you give them space to cry, to grieve, to be sad, to be mad, to be hurt, to be frustrated, to feel afraid, if you give them space to feel their feelings, their brain and their nervous system will find its way back to equanimity, to balance, to calm. Our nervous systems are meant to go through hard things and then come back down from them. Your child's nervous system is the same. Now, the circumstances, the things that they find frustrating, overwhelming, difficult, sad, the circumstances might be different than things that might trigger your nervous system. But the truth is, all of us are human and we all have nervous systems and we all have emotional experiences. And it's really the ability to manage those feelings and move through them and process them. I think of it as like digestion, that you want your kids to be able to go through a hard adversity and then build some perspective. Think about the episode I did on regret, how you want to be able to look back at something, feel peace about the circumstance, and then find the pieces that are left over after something hard and learn and grow from them. The cool thing is that when you give your kids the opportunity to experience hard things, or they just happen because they happen, that's what life is like, that you let them feel their feelings and then trust that they're going to feel their way all the way to the problem-solving stage. This is what I see sometimes when people are going through something hard, either a child or a community or an individual or a peer, is that we often rush to silver line the situation. Instead of making room for the hard feelings and allowing a grieving process to happen, we try to rush it and silver line it. Like, oh, well, at least you still have blank, or at least this happened, or, you'll get him next time, tiger. Like, we rush to the solution. We rush to the resolution. We rush to the good thing. And that's not really how resilience is built. Resilience is built by experiencing the hard thing and allowing the pain and a negative emotion, the hurt, the sadness, the anger, the disappointment, letting that be digested, be processed by the nervous system, and be allowed. Making room for those hard feelings, not going to silver line something so fast, while also trusting that your child can handle their big feelings. If they start to get stuck in that their feeling cycle, you can say, you know what, this is a lot, let's go take a walk. You know what, this is a lot, let's make a snack now. Or you can put a boundary. I'm happy to talk to you more about the sad thing that happened, the teacher or the friendship or the coach or whatever the hard thing is tomorrow night. It's time for bed now. Let's read a story, or I'm going to start dinner now. Like, you can put a boundary if the feeling cycle is going long and long and long, but I don't want you to rush to solve it. The first thing is making room for hard feelings. When bad things happen, letting the feelings happen. And I'm seeing that in the community in Los Angeles. Like, people this past week have been quiet. They have been allowing for the pain. Those people who aren't experiencing the pain have been feeling the sadness of the city. And there's been a quietness to Los Angeles. And some people are starting to get into action, but we can't really start the rebuilding yet. Now it's just about solving the most immediate problems of like housing and water and food and clothing and basics. It's like, let's get everybody stable before we try to make things right or better. So you want to give whoever's going through something hard, want to give a lot of space for that emotional experience, the grief process to happen. Once someone has gone through some of their emotions, that's when it's really time to start to problem solve. And really what you want to be developing in your child is their ability to solve their own problems. You want to guide them towards solutions, but really asking really good questions. Like, why do you think that happened? What do you want to do next? What would be the best solution for you? How do you want to handle this? And giving them the idea that they have the solution inside of them. Giving them the belief that they can handle something hard. So imagine that they didn't do their homework assignment or they didn't get the best grades and they don't get to go on the big trip or something like that. And say, yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Of course you're sad. Validating and giving some time, letting them be mad and raging and whatever they've got to go through. I say, well, okay, what do you want to do about it now? You're not going, or you got cut from the team, or, you have had this, broken leg because now you can't go to the beach with all your friends. What do you want to do now? Do you want to sit around and mope, or do you want to make the most of it? Like, do you want to watch a movie, or do you want to, practice baseball so that you're better for next season? You can start to offer some solutions, but asking them like, what about this? What do you think about that? Do you want to try this? And letting them make some decisions within themselves. Now, if your kid is not ready to go to solution, that's fine. You can let them mope around a little bit, maybe letting them get to that point where they're ready to come up with some ideas. We want to let our kids know that they get to try again. So whatever the adversity is, we want our kids to keep working at overcoming the challenge. So continuing to be on the baseball team and not just quitting, even if they aren't that great, so they can show themselves that they're strong and that they can handle it. I think about when my son broke his leg and how determined he was to walk and how determined he was to get back to school. And he was just like, what does it take? What do I got to do? And of course, the first week or so was really hard. He was in a lot of pain. He was really uncomfortable. And then he started to go like, okay, what's next? What can I do to get what I want? That's the thing that we're talking about. That resilient spirit is like, I'm willing to do the hard thing to get the next thing, to get the thing that I want. And communicating to your kid, it's not over. You can keep trying. You can work at getting the grades you want. You can work at getting your friendship back. You can work at getting your privileges that you've lost if they've gotten a consequence. So giving them this belief in themselves that they can solve their own problems, that they can try again, and then letting your kid know that they're okay. No matter what has happened, that they're safe and that you believe that they're okay exactly as they are. Like you don't need to be better in order to be worthy. You don't have to have made all the best grades or gotten on the best of the baseball team or made the position in the dance recital or whatever, got the best award. Like whatever they're sad about, we want to make sure that they feel that they haven't done anything wrong. Another thing you want to remember about resilience is we want to make sure our kids can separate themselves from their circumstance. So it's kind of like shame is something that is wrong with me. Guilt is I did something wrong. In that same regard, we want to make sure that I am not a bad person because I made a mistake. I'm not a bad person because I didn't make the baseball team or get that top grade or get the position in the dance recital or didn't get invited to the birthday party. That those are external circumstances and they don't mean as much as what's going on inside. That we can be sad about things that happen on the outside, but that doesn't define who we are. And so I want you as the parent to be able to separate your child's behavior or their circumstances from their character, from who they are inside. Not looking at your child from that lens of like, well, they didn't get very good grades, or they're not being nice to everybody, or they're not dressing well, or they're not being athletic, or they're not being creative, or they're not being funny. Like if you are trying to look on the outside and determine whether your kid is good on the inside based on the outside, they're going to do the same thing. So resilience is really all about this internal belief that I'm okay, that I can handle it, that I'm good enough, that I can figure things out. It's a mindset that comes from the inside. And so no matter what is going on the outside of your child's life, you want to make sure to communicate to them, I'm not worried about who you are at your inside. You're going to fail. You're going to make mistakes. Things are going to be hard. Some days are going to be great. Some days are going to be crappy. And I'm not worried about you. You will figure out how to grow up and become strong and be, the person you're meant to be. So this happens all the way from when they're little and they have an accident, potty training, all the way to maybe not getting into the college of their choice. All along the way, your kid is going to have mistakes and mess up. You want to be helping them feel their feelings, problem solve, try again, and building that inner belief that they're okay exactly as they are. What I've noticed is that a lot of parents, like I said in the beginning of the podcast, is that they'll try to prevent all of these hard things from happening. They want to make sure that their kid gets all the tutoring and all the coaching and all the special treatment and the right teacher and is, looks the right way and all of this extra work in order to get their kid some sort of paved golden road so that they don't get hurt. And that's not, for one, it's not possible. Okay. You cannot be perfect and prevent pain. It's not possible. Your kid is going to experience hardship no matter how hard you work. I'd rather you spend more time building your belief up and your kid's belief that they can handle hard things. So letting them experience adversity, not rescuing, not solving all their problems for them. That means avoiding pre-solving problems, like I said, through social engineering and hyper planning and gossiping and all of these things that we do to try to figure out, is our kid safe? Are they good? What do we need to do? Who do we need to move? Like a chessboard, trying to manipulate the world so that our kids can kind of walk straight through. That doesn't produce the emotionally healthy kid that you want, because it doesn't give them the belief that they can solve their own problems, that they can handle hard things. Everyone will overcome the hardship of the fires, but the people that are going to overcome it with more ease are the people who can be thinking, where is the solution? I've got it in me. I can figure this out. Where are the resources? How can I get the support I need? And doing the work and taking the steps to rebuild their life. That inner belief, that ability to feel the feelings all the way and grieve and be sad, and then believe in yourself that you can now move forward, that is what resilience is. If you let your kids go through little hard things, little hardships as they age, struggling to put on their shoe, going back up to the bedroom and remaking that bed and losing their water bottle and having to pay $10 to buy a new one, and going through small hardships will give them the inner belief that they can handle hardship. When a problem is presented to them, which it will, they will then say, okay, I can handle this. And that is everything. Giving your kid the belief that they can handle it. That's what we're working towards here. I want to give you the belief that you can handle whatever hardship is going on for you right now. Grieve your grief, feel your feelings, do the sadness, feel the hardship, whatever it is that's hard for you right now. Let yourself feel all those feelings and then wait, because the solutions, the silver lining, they will come. Your brain will draw you towards them. You do have the answers. You will figure it out. And I trust you and I believe in you. Just like I believe that you can become the parent you want to be, and that any hardship that's going on with your kids or with you or with your family, that you have it inside of you to be the parent that you want to be. To just keep being curious, being loving and forgiving yourself, and being curious. What's the next right thing? What can I do? How can I overcome this hardship? Some of that means getting resources. Someone who's lost their home, they're not like, let me do it by myself and rebuild a house. Like, no, they're going to find the people who know what they're doing and getting support. So if you need support in your parenting, I highly recommend you reach out to me and book a complimentary consultation. We'll talk through what's going on, what hardships you're seeing, and make a plan so that you feel more confident and more supported along your parenting journey. So you can find out how to do that on my website, calmmamacoaching.com, and just book a little call and we'll figure it out together. This is a message to you that you don't have to work as hard as you think you have to work at preventing all the problems and make sure your kids are always happy, because the truth is unhappiness is just as important as happiness. All right, Mama, I will talk to you next time. Hey, Mama, if you enjoyed this podcast episode, I want to encourage you to do two things. The first is go to my website, calmmamacoaching.com, and get a copy of the Stop Yelling cheat sheet. You'll get a step-by-step breakdown of the most important tool I teach, which is the pause break. And you'll also get 40 ideas to reset your body and balance your nervous system so you don't have to yell at your kids. You can get a copy of that, again, at my website, calmmamacoaching.com/stop yelling. The other thing I'd love for you to do is go to Apple Podcasts and rate and review this podcast so that other moms can discover empowering and helpful, practical parenting strategies just like you did today. Thanks so much for listening to the podcast. It means a lot to be in your ear every week and to support you on your parenting journey.